So hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Amesie's Corner. How you guys all doing out there? Well, we got 5 more questions asked on my YouTube channel comments that I'm going to answer today. If you guys have any questions about cars, about the business, about my channel, about whatever, I answer them every Sunday. I answer between 5 and 10 questions, depending on how many questions are asked during the week. So let's get right into this 5 questions for this week, the week of, what is this, the 22nd. So, number 1, what are some good tools, a set of tools for the weekend warrior? Well, there's a lot of questions to ask here that we have to ask. What are you doing? What kind of a weekend warrior are you? Are you doing like brake jobs or just doing simple stuff? Are you doing work for a few people? What's around you? Where can you get tools? Who supplies tools to you? And what's your budget? These are some questions that kind of you have to ask. I'm going to say, right, shooting from the hip, what you should deal with, what are probably the best tools for the weekend warrior, and that's going to be Sears Craftsman, you know, and it comes down to replaceability. It's one thing to buy a set of tools, but what happens when you break a tool? What happens when you lose a tool? Say you're doing a job on a motor and your 10mm socket from your Craftsman set falls down into the motor and it's there. It's part of that motor now. You're not going to take the motor out. You're not going to take the engine apart to retrieve a $5 or $10 socket. Where are you going to go to replace that? If you buy tools from these dollar stores or bargain basement places, are you going to be able to buy just that one socket to replace it, or are you going to have to buy the whole kit? So that's a big thing, because tools break and tools get lost and snow falls off the roof. But yeah, I would say your best bet, because they're lifetime warranty. You go to any Sears store, they'll give you a new socket. You break it, they'll give you a new one right on the spot. They're affordable, and they're a good deal for the home tech. If you're working on cars just on the weekend, doing a job here and there, then definitely go to Sears Craftsman. If you're doing less than that, you just wanna tighten your wheels or have a couple of things lying around, then go to the dollar store. Buy the cheapest stuff you can. I've got some tools here. I've got a set here. I bought this set right here of sockets from Walmart like 15 years ago, and I use these with my impact tools. I beat the crap out of these, and every one is just as good as the day I bought it. They're a little dirty, a little scratched up. All the chrome's still good. I think this set was like $13, just a cheap whatever they had at Walmart at the time. I actually even cut the rail they came with out of the packaging, and I use that. I don't use these every day now. I use my snap-on stuff, but if I've got something that you had to hammer a socket on, I'll use this cheap set. You know, Sears Craftsman, Walmart. As long as you can replace it when it breaks without having to buy the whole set, you know, that's what you're looking for. Question number 2. Now this goes to a question that I asked you guys to ask when I was doing the Honda time lapse. I actually put the question right here on my little shelf, and that is, why does that crashed Honda Civic have a clean Carfax? And this is a big reason that I don't really care what Carfax says about a car, and that's because Carfax only reports damages that have been reported to an insurance company. If an insurance company pays for the accident, then that's going to be reported to their information system. Carfax can get in and say, yeah, the insurance company took care of this. It had a rear end then, it had a front end accident then, the insurance company took care of it. With that Honda, there was no other car. That was a single car, relatively minor accident, and the gentleman that owned that had very basic insurance that really only covered damages that he caused with that car. And because there was no damage to the guardrail, and he had the basic insurance, that means he had to foot the bill on that Honda. Now, he's not obligated to tell anybody that, hey, this car had an accident that would have totaled it out. He paid for it out of his pocket. We fixed it up. You go get a Carfax on that car. That accident will not be on Carfax. So you don't know if some people maybe just pay for their own damages so it doesn't make their insurance go up. How many times has someone hit your car and said, oh, I got a guy, I'll pay them? That's not going to get reported to Carfax. That's why when you look at a used car, you have to use your eyes, your fingers, feel the body lines, because just because a Carfax says it's never been in an accident doesn't mean it's never been an accident. Question number 3. How many cars do I personally own? Well, right now, it's my two Saabs, my Sonnet and my 9000. I live in an apartment, and I can't keep an unregistered car at the apartment, so I can't store a project car where I live. I would have to pay for storage, and I can't pay for storage on a project car. Back at the other building, like, we recently moved into this awesome new facility. The big caveat to this place is parking. We don't have a lot of parking, and that's kind of the problem with me doing a project car right now at this time, is the project car has to go home with me every night. You know, I can't leave a car with no wheels on it, or the front end off of it on the lot. Cars have to be moved around here, especially right now in winter with all the snow we're having. We're losing parking to snow. I'm hoping in the near future that I can get my own little private workshop, a single little garage, very near where I live, so I can put an hour every night into whatever project car I want. I have a few ideas of what I want for a project car, but until I find a garage that I can do that and leave my car apart in, my project cars are going to have to be my Sonnet and my 9000 and the new 9000 that I'm picking up very soon. I'm going to be getting a 98 Saab 9000, but that's going to replace the 9000 I've had for all these years. So yeah, I only own two cars. Last spring I had three, because I had that Mazda Miata, that custom Miata, but I had to sell that Miata to pay for all of the registration fees and the excise tax on the Sonnet. It cost me about $2,000 to put that Sonnet on the road because of what had happened to the title. It had gone through a few different owners. The title was dated and signed when it was sold in 2001. 2014, when I go to put it on the road, it had 14 years of penalized back excise tax to pay for on that car. So I had to give up my Project Miata for the Project Sonnet. So at this time I have two cars. I'm hoping that's going to change very soon. Alright, so now I have two car questions that you guys had asked. Number 4 would be, on my car, one tire wears very poorly. The tread's cracking, wearing on the edges. What can cause just one tire to wear out? That's a great question right there. Usually when, say, your tie rod ends or a ball joint wears out on a car, it makes one of your wheels go out of alignment. Now, you can't have one wheel out of alignment and the other wheel in alignment. The front wheels work together. They have to turn at the same rate. They have to be angled the same way. So usually when something goes wrong with a suspension component, a ball joint, tie rod end, strut mount, or what have you, you'll have wear on both tires, both front tires, because it's going to cause one side to go off. You're going to try to pull a little more on the wheel because it's pulling. It's going to wear them both out. There's really only a few things that are going to cause one tire to wear. And that number one culprit in that situation would be a bad shock or bad strut on the wheel that's wearing. I remember with the Fords, the Ford pickup trucks had this twin traction beam front end. It was almost like a solid axle split in the middle to be an independent front suspension. The trouble with that is those wheels wouldn't travel in a straight up and down arc through the suspension travel. They would kind of pivot one way or another. And with those trucks, if you had a shock blown out or your shock was weak, then the tire where that strut, or rather that shock was, would wear out really fast, really strangely on the edges, on the sides, in the middle, really scalloped wear on it. And that's caused by your shock or strut not able to keep that wheel on the ground. And that's one of the few things that's only going to wear one tire and not the other than maybe a camber issue on one side, really far out camber. That can wear one tire, but you would still see some wear on the other side. You would notice some pull on the wheel. You didn't give a lot of information on the question about which tire and what kind of car. Then I could maybe have narrowed it down a little better, but as a general rule, if one tire is wearing on your car, chances are that strut or shock on that corner is weak and it's not letting that tire stay on the ground like it needs to. Number 5, I have a 99 Buick Century. I've been quoted $500 to replace the fuel pump. Is that a lot of money? And then he goes on to ask, what should I avoid buying aftermarket for my car? Well, $500 from a fuel pump isn't really unreasonable. The pumps can go anywhere from $100 to $250, $300, depending if you get just the pump or you get the pump and the sending unit that it goes into. Another thing that can influence that price is, do you have to remove the fuel tank, or is there an access panel? I'm not sure on your Sentry if it has an access. If it has an access and the pump's like $250, it'd probably take an hour to get out, then $500 is a little high if it has an access. If you have to pull the tank, then $500 is a damn deal. So anyways, I hope this answers your questions. You know, I could have used a little more information on the tire wearing out. Another question you asked on the tire I didn't get to was how often should you align it? I would say whenever you notice a problem with the wheel or your tires are wearing funny, then you should probably get your alignment checked. As a rule of thumb, once a year. Up here in New England in the winter can really beat the crap out of our roads, and we get a lot of potholes, a lot of frost heaves. You can hit one good hard pothole and throw your alignment out. So I would say in the spring, after they've repaired the roads for the summer, is the best time to get an alignment. So anyways, guys, I hope these 5 questions helped you guys out. So if you got any questions, any automotive questions, automotive industry questions, Amesie's Corner questions, personal questions for me, what have you, ask them down in the comments. Ask them in the comments, and next Sunday I will answer as many as I can. I've been doing 5 questions lately just because that seems to be the number you guys are asking week to week. So if you guys got some more questions, let's have them. Let's have them. So until next time, guys, keep it out of the cabbage.